Faddy Zouky OAM is an Australian citizen of Lebanese origin who has set out to make a difference to the world around him. Over the past 25 years, Mr. Zouky has established himself as both a business and community leader. A lawyer, a prominent business developer and philanthropist, he has pursued his goals of enriching the lives of others and giving back to both the country that provided his family with refuge from the Lebanese civil war and the homeland for which his love will never wane. Prior to taking on the responsibilities of founding president of the Australia and Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Faddy was asked to represent UNDP's Live Lebanon project as its Australian ambassador. Here's an exclusive interview with a successful Lebanese entrepreneur. Tell us about your work with the Australia-Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and how it is creating a positive impact in both countries.
First of all, I want to thank you, Linda, for giving me the opportunity to be interviewed by you. The Australia-Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Industry is probably one of the most important organizations ever established in Australia that have a very positive impact on Lebanon and Australia alike. The purpose is to basically build a bridge between Lebanon and Australia. That bridge is to bring the two countries closer through economic activities. The positive impact, it has done a lot of good work since the inception of the Chamber. It has done a lot of seminars and activities and networking between the international business community, especially between Lebanon and Australia, through trade missions, through political exchanges, which encompasses the historical visit of the President of Lebanon to Australia exactly 2 years ago. The upcoming events are, one which is very important is a trade mission in March, which will encompass several Lebanese origin, including Australian wider community business people, accompanied by political figures that we will be engaging with our counterparts in Lebanon, including visits to the government departments, which will include but not limited to the Prime Minister of Lebanon. The intention again is to stimulate economic interest between the two nations.
You're a prominent businessman and you've successfully expanded your business to the UAE and Lebanon. Why should entrepreneurs invest in Lebanon given the current political crisis in the country and in the region?
That's a very good question, Linda. I think what we need to really bear in mind is that sometimes, if you like, unrest or lack of stability in the region could actually make the country fairly attractive for investments. And the reason being, for example, with Lebanon now, the property market drops substantially, which makes investments quite attractive. I know a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, the property market was quite high and made it almost expensive to invest. So even though there's lack of stability in the region, it does drop the market in terms of property down and does actually attract people from overseas to come and invest today more than ever. We used to think that tourism was the Europeans and the Arabs from the Gulf region. I think tourism really is also misconceived in our country. It's all the expats, it's all the diaspora, Lebanese diaspora that have been coming to the country, and we characterize them as tourists, but they're not really. They're coming back to see their families, they're coming back to invest in Lebanon, they're coming back to basically bring their kids to come and see their own motherland. So those don't tend to decrease. So I strongly believe that yes, of course, the lack of stability in the region and especially now that the problems we have in Lebanon, the security issues, yes, it will infect some people from coming, but we also, the majority know this is Lebanon and this is how it's been for a long time, and they'll still continue to come as long as we keep welcoming them and keep the hospitality standard up.
So you have hope in the country?
We have to be hopeful. We have to, and the reason being is if we were to become skeptical, then we have served the purpose of terror in the area. Okay, and the way we can fight terror is by being positive and let life go on as usual. And what's more important as well is the fact that we need to prevent economic terrorism to the country, because economic terrorism will impact the entire country. It will cause poverty, it will cause problems where people actually start being preoccupied with the militia and with a non-productive activities, and therefore we need not to fall into that trap that we did in the 70s.
You're also a philanthropist who's chaired several charitable committees. As a matter of fact, you're the Australian ambassador for UNDP's Live Lebanon project. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, I strongly believe in philanthropy work. You know, it's every business and every company must have a social responsibility or a corporate responsibility, and that is to put back into the community, put back into especially with the underprivileged and those in need. In my case, I was privileged to join the UNDP Live Lebanon program as a goodwill ambassador. It is the UNDP is a fantastic organization that belongs to the United Nations. They are in Lebanon at the moment, focusing on rebuilding the Lebanese infrastructure, the youth, the environment, and more importantly also preserving Lebanese culture and heritage. And in my case, my job is to promote those activities of the UNDP through the Live Lebanon initiative, and to also try my best is to fundraise from the private sector in order to assist the UNDP in actually attending to all those different requests that come from different municipalities in Lebanon.
How much is the Lebanese community in Australia actually involved in this project? What is their biggest contribution?
In terms of the UNDP Live Lebanon project, we have well and truly promoted that project across Australia, and we are trying very hard to encourage people, especially people where we are focusing on their villages, to actually contribute to their own villages in attending to the particular projects that we have adopted on their behalf.
I've read on one of your websites that one of your personal missions was to make the world a better place for members of the global community. So what do you think was your biggest achievements as someone whose mission is to make a difference in this world?
Looking back and remembering that there are people in this world who suffer. There's a lot of people in this world who need support, and I believe in good karma, that whatever you do to these people, it will come back in multiples. But more important to me, that is far more rewarding than the financial gain. And I've seen this happen in Lebanon. I have helped a lot of organizations in Lebanon that that deal with orphans to the disabled children, and I personally have taken on several also kids where I've actually supported over a period of time in Lebanon. And especially Lebanon got a very special place in my heart, because I know myself personally, I'm an orphan myself. I lost my mother when I was very young. I personally experienced the life of a refugee, and personally also seen this country unfairly being destroyed over and over and over again. And I think, and I find it almost like a mission for me. It's my own personal mission to come back to Lebanon and make a difference the way I did in Australia. And all we want is the Lebanon and its government to change. It's time to change. It's time to say no. It's time not to remain and get used to the situation in Lebanon. People must change. Lebanese deserve at least the basic standard of living. I mean, I cannot imagine a country in the world till today, 9 months down the track, there's no president. I can't imagine a country today that has 3 hours of electricity. A country that is so rich with water and they don't have water in their own homes. I mean, those are absolutely a non-event in today's world. I've seen third world countries have those and Lebanon don't. And I can't even understand what the explanation behind that. So, and I blame the Lebanese people to some degree, because they seem to get used to it and they don't go for a change. They need to ask for a change. They should say, no, we deserve to have a normal life. We deserve to have stability. We deserve to have all the, if you like, the necessities of life. They're not privileges, they're necessities that you're asking for. And they have to start also making the government accountable. And that's very important. The message will be is, please keep supporting Lebanon, because Lebanon always sustained itself okay, in reliance on the diaspora around the world. Keep supporting the country, keep visiting Lebanon. Even if you don't want to come back permanently, keep visiting the country and create some economic activity one way or the other. Lebanon needs its own people. As we can see that the Arabs in the Gulf has left, the Europeans hardly come to Lebanon. So the only salvation Lebanon got is through the 20 million diaspora around the world.